the beat. Still beat, still beat. Yes, sir. 23.7 the beat. Ooh, yes, sir. Still beat, still beat.
Hey, Muskegon, it's so much fun. When I get a text from PA about, I don't know, 2 hours ago saying, hey, by the way, I'm going to be hosting your show today and we're going to do it. We're going to go StreamYard. We're going to live stream this bad boy. And again, this just goes to show you, ladies and gentlemen, this idea that there is no pre-production meetings. There's no post-production meetings.
Post-production.
What I've always loved about this, well, there's a lot of things that I've loved about this show over the years, but what I really love about it is I think it's truly authentic because it is essentially straight talk, like the intro suggests, and in some respects shooting from the hip a little bit. Which is okay. I mean, I actually, for the most part, I prefer doing that as opposed to, having prepared remarks or all that, like a written. I hate when I have to give like a speech or some sort of talk and it's like, well, you got 2 minutes or you got 5 minutes and then I have to write stuff down because if I don't write stuff down, 5 minutes is 10 or 15 or 20 in a heartbeat, and that's when I get myself in trouble a little bit. So that's why it was so funny in the sense I was glad to get your text because it's always nice seeing you. But at least the heads up I got was, by the way, we're going to go live. And not only are you going to hear the voice, but you're going to see me. And again, there are people that have told me that I have a face for radio.
No. They're lying, DJ.
but I do appreciate, the live, the StreamYard. And we've done StreamYard before. This is nothing new. But yeah, so there you go. There's a little sneak peek behind the curtain.
Yeah. And I know you'll be ready.
Oh,
see, I know you're going to have on a shirt and tie.
Yeah.
Because that's the dress code.
This is it, man. Yeah, this is what I wear.
I knew that you stay ready. You stay ready.
Listen, I gotta stay ready, especially and I love Big Rob. Shout out to Big Rob.
Yes.
I love Big Rob, but I always have to put on my A game when you are hosting because you do know how to rapid fire questions.
Oh. I watch you do your.
You are really good at this whole journalism thing, being a journalist, and making sure that I keep on my toes. So I appreciate that.
And reason why I don't prep with you because I know that you are engaged with your prosecutor's office. Like you try cases.
Oh yeah.
You don't have too many prosecutors that's at your level. You don't have to do that.
I don't.
But you try cases. So I know you engage and. There's so many things to talk about.
Yeah. So let's dive in. I just want to start with, I hope people are starting to enjoy this weather. I tell you what, there's nothing more refreshing than walking in and out of the county building without a jacket on, and sunglasses. I love that. That extra vitamin D, even though it's only for a couple of minutes, energize me a little bit.
Wow. Have you got on the boat yet?
Your boat? No,
No.
I have not. I haven't been invited to your boat. No,
That's
oh well, I
That's
mean,
history.
that's the only boat that I know of.
That's in the Gulf of America or Gulf of Mexico, whatever
yeah,
you want to
yeah,
call it.
I've never had the pleasure of owning a boat.
So, do you go fishing?
No, I don't.
Wow, DJ.
No, I don't fish.
All you do is just work out, lift weights.
I lift weights. I work out. No, I do some duck hunting every November with my father-in-law. I do get a chance to do that, but yeah, no boats, no fishing. I do like going to the beach though. That's a staple for the Hilson family. In
Which
the
beach
summertime.
do you go to?
We live on the north end of town, so it's the whatever. The North Muskegon, I guess they call it the North Muskegon side. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I usually that's the beach that we hit.
And you know how to swim?
Yeah.
That's good.
I mean, I took lessons as a youngster at our back in my hometown, our local Y. We had a YMCA. That's where I took swimming lessons.
That's good. Yeah. Well, you went up on me.
Well, listen, I typically don't get I don't get deep. In Lake Michigan, only because I like to mess around on the shallow end, whether it's throwing a football or whatever it is we're doing.
Wow. Imagine being in a body of water and you see a big jellyfish.
Yeah.
I saw that.
That freaked me out a little bit.
I saw that in Mauritius, and it was amazing. They come up to the shallow end to get food.
Okay.
Because people would throw fish there, caught and cleaned it.
Okay.
And they come up to get food, but no, stingray. It was a stingray.
Stingray, yeah.
Yeah, stingray.
Yeah,
wow, man.
Yeah.
People out there swimming.
Well, see, I think stingrays are more afraid of you than you are of them. And you just have to be careful of their tail. That's where the stinger is.
In this particular area, this tail doesn't kill you. It does sting though.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna hurt.
It's not the Steve Irwin one that he got.
Yeah.
But wow. So many things are happening.
All right.
And the Lee Lonemeyer seems to be one case that is getting a lot of attention on social media.
Yeah.
I want to shout out to Black Paper, brother Robert Williams. Excellent reporting on the scene. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how he's on the scene when the police is out executing search warrants and all that. Any update on that?
Well, I can say that my office has been working in conjunction with the Norton Shores Police Department. Very, very active investigation. There's not much publicly I can say about it, other than there has been a lot of activity from my office working with Norton Shores in that investigation. And just as of last week, there was stuff going on. So unfortunately, given the circumstances of what's happening with that cooperation, I cannot publicly talk about what's going on, but people need to know that we actually have a specific assistant prosecutor assigned to that investigation who's been working hand in hand with Norton Shores Police Department. You get little tidbits here and there, and certainly it certainly has, in my opinion, from what I've been able to see in here, it has been moving in the right direction. And again, it's just a matter of, as the information comes in and as we digest that and figure out how that information fits with the other pieces that we have, things sort of unfold. And I will say the assistant prosecutor working on this case, many years of experience doing these types of investigations, and I have full faith and confidence in her abilities to work with the police departments and do our best to get to the truth, in particular where Mr. Longmire is. And that's step number one, is to find him, and then ultimately kind of work backwards from there and figure out exactly what happened and who's responsible.
Wow, it's been quite a few raids. Quite a bit of raids. We had the mother on radio. I think might have been last week.
Yeah.
And we had Miss Mitchell on, and we had her on before. The family's hurting.
Oh, I know. But again, one of the things that my office, what I ask of myself and my assistants, is that we're in constant communication with whether it's the victim or the family or family members of the victim. We're always in constant communication with those folks, so they have a good sense as to where we're at, what we're doing, in the direction that we're headed. And, again, there are certain things by law that we cannot share,
Right.
even with those sort of, I'll say, directly involved. But at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, it's really important that as when I'm involved in these family meetings, one of the things that we always say is, look, don't listen to what you're hearing on the streets. If there are questions or you have concerns, just contact us and hear directly from, as I always say, the horse's mouth. Hear directly from us. In that way, you'll know exactly what's going on. And the idea is if we're going to share things, because a lot of times we'll share things that I can't even share with the media or publicly.
Right.
But we are very transparent with victims or victims' families. They have to understand that it's sort of that cone of silence, that what is said within the walls has to stay within the walls until if and when we get to a point where we're charged a case, and then now we're in open court, and a lot of that stuff starts coming out in open court, and then anybody can talk about it at that point.
Because sometimes you don't. There's been times I heard of detectives maybe or police departments that don't share anything with the family, and the family feel like they've been left out.
Yeah,
is that a normal tactic?
Well, again, it all depends on the relationship. I think one of the biggest things is the relationship that the charging authority, whether it's district attorney or prosecutor's office, has with law enforcement and has with the community. Because, again, I'm not the boss. I'm only the boss of the people that work in my office. I'm not the boss of any of the chiefs of police. I'm not the boss of any of their detectives or sergeants or lieutenants or patrolmen or women. I'm not their boss. And there's a mutual respect, I think, between all those agencies and my office, and the idea that, hey, look, we're going to get more done if we work together and not against one another.
Right.
And so oftentimes, in fact, almost always, if there's a major event that happens and the police want to release something to the public, we're having those conversations about, hey, look, this is what I think you can say. This is what you certainly can't say. But in the end, we, along with law enforcement, are meeting with those family, either, like I said, either the victim, if they're still alive, or the family of victims, either before or try to get ahead of, hey, this is what you're going to see in the media. This is what you're going to see in the press. Understand, there are certain limitations that we have, but here, let us have this conversation with you. And I think it's critically important, because ultimately, when you look at some of the more nationally recognized cases that have happened, you can definitely tell when there hasn't been that level of communication between, whether it's law enforcement or the charging authority, whether it's district attorney or prosecutor's office, and the family. And that you can avoid a lot of heartache and mess when you try to meet with those folks sooner rather than later.
Talk to the family.
Talk to them. Yeah, talk to them. And again, there is a level of trust, right? You have to express this idea that I'm going to share with you things that I can't share outside of these four walls, but I think it's important, with the understanding that you keep that to yourself.
Don't put it on social media.
The minute that you publish it or put it on social media or put it out there for the world, then our relationship is over, because I can't trust you anymore. Right. And throughout the course of my career, people have been very respectful, and we've never had a situation where it's like, okay, we got to shut down our level of communication because the folks have gone off the rails and they're putting everything out in the World Wide Web, so to speak. That's never happened, because I think that they understand that in order for us to do our jobs and making sure that we put forward the best possible case for prosecution, they can't be an interference to that, and they don't want to be. I mean, right? Everybody wants to make sure that we hold the offenders accountable and that we get, the maximum we can with the information that we have, and everybody's been very respectful about that. I mean, like I said, it's hard, and I think we've talked about this before. I mean, if you can imagine trying to have a conversation with an individual or individuals that have just gone through something very traumatic and tragic that was unexpected, and try to have a level of a conversation with them. It's difficult because we have to meet them where they're at emotionally. We have to make sure that they understand where the expectation level needs to be, because it could be that a case is still under investigation, but here's what we have, or hey, we've charged this case and here's what's going to happen next, and here's the information that we have that we've used to base our charging decision. All those different scenarios have played out in the course of my career, anyways. And again, it's just a matter of I think the big point here is that we're having those conversations. I just feel that if it were me, I would want to know, what the heck's going on,
Right.
and where what are the police doing, what are you doing,
Right.
and kind of where we're at, and so that they understand, that we're not dragging our feet, that we're
Right.
not, this isn't a hitting the back burner, that it's people are working this and triaging this along with the other things that are going on that they have to investigate, but that we have this. Like I said, I'm fortunate to have a few members of my staff that are sort of dedicated to these investigations, that when we start working with the police in an investigation, they can dedicate the time necessary in order to do that and still manage their own, courtroom and office responsibilities. I'm really, really fortunate that I have those folks in my office that can do that. And they have the level of experience and expertise in order to get it done, and do a really, really good job at it.
Live with Honorable DJ Hilson inside the 5 o'clock hour. If you got any questions or comments for DJ, we're live on YouTube and we're live on our Facebook page. You can type your comment in, type your question in. He's here. He take all questions. He's not going to run from it. The prom after party,
Yeah.
that went totally bad.
Yeah.
What can you say about that?
So again, this, we're, one very unfortunate situation. It's been several years since I went to my high school prom. Several decades, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
but again, from my time being here in Muskegon County and knowing, one of the cool traditions that I've always been kind of fond of, and this is true for I think both Muskegon and Muskegon Heights, their high schools, they have what they call the show up, right? Where people have fancy cars and they show up, and it's about how you look and what you. It's almost like a red carpet deal. What you're wearing and all this other stuff, and I think that's a really cool tradition. And it's really nice when it's peaceful, right? That there isn't any drama or any other nonsense going on. It's kids just being kids, wanting to dress up nice, look nice, get their hair done, whatever it is, and show out. So I've always loved that. I've always loved that tradition. And it's unfortunate that I guess I get glimpses of it on social media these days. Now, again, the after part of this, and I, again, I'm naive, or, sticking my head in the sand that after prom gatherings happen, and in the right setting, in the right circumstances, there's nothing wrong with that. And one of the things that we're hoping to sort of unravel here is exactly how was this put together? What was the format? What were the boundaries? What were the parameters? And get that all figured out. Again, like a lot of initial investigations, the information has been sort of trickling into investigators. I will say this, that again, I've assigned a couple assistant prosecutors to this investigation, and myself, actually, personally, I'm going to be working with my staff on this and investigators. I decided that this is one that I'm going to take an interest in, and we're in the early stages of that investigation. I know that there are people out there who know exactly what happened, what the disagreement was, what was going on, and have yet to share that information. And ultimately, what we care about, what I care about, is getting to the truth. And in this situation, thankfully, although we've got some significant serious injuries to a couple of folks, that nobody's lost their life as a result, and that would have been truly tragic. I mean, the whole circumstance was a tragedy, but if we're dealing with the loss of life, especially young life, then that would have been truly tragic. But at the end of the day, again, there isn't much detail that I can share because this is a very active investigation. And it's a combination of Fruitport Police Department, our major crime investigators, myself and two of my other staff members are going to be actively involved in this investigation. And we're just really getting rolling on some things that we're going to probably do in order to, again, get to the truth. So hang tight on that. Folks need to understand that, we're not just putting this on the shelf and saying, well, we'll get to it when we get to it. It has been ongoing since the event. In fact, I met with my staff, the staff members helping me out on this today. We're meeting with investigators tomorrow, and ultimately we're going to get the process rolling. I'm looking at all aspects of this. And certainly the most critical part of this is those individuals who had guns at this party and who pulled triggers and what was going on. That certainly is a priority, but also moving out from there, looking at how this venue was set up and how everything else was going. So, ultimately, again, I apologize, I can't share details, but trust me, when the time is right, the details will show themselves.
DJ, take a quick break. Be right back. We're going to resume this conversation. Be right back in about 60 seconds.
You've been gone, it's an empty home. Come on back where you really belong. You are always welcome home, welcome home. You've been kept down for much too long. Stand up, please, and say I am free. Don't forget you are welcome home, welcome home.
All right, welcome back.
Look at that. You caught us sort of guard down, but that's okay. Good to be back. Good video too, man. I not to get sidetracked from our conversation, but I do love what you guys do with the Africa trip and the experience, and you get a little bit of a glimpse right there of what that experience was like, and it's something I know that you look forward to every year, and I know I gotta imagine those kids that get a chance to go are just, that's a trip of a lifetime.
And we're going this year, DJ. The airline flights just went totally bizarre.
Oh, of course.
And so we're looking at August or October. We just got some names from the schools of kids that's gonna be going and working on that process. But I didn't feel comfortable asking the community for money during a time which the prices are up like 30%.
Yeah,
because of the war.
Yeah, well, that's terrible.
Yeah,
it's just terrible.
The airlines, like, they get to charge when the fuel prices go up.
Yeah.
So I look at the ticket prices, and one airline is charging $800 just for the fuel per person.
Oh,
so that doesn't include your fare.
Oh,
that's a surplus.
Yeah,
that's a tax.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, and they're monitored by this, and because of the prices, it's just,
it's terrible.
It's terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible, and it's hurting tourism around. So, I did a boo-boo in the studio, so we had to take a little break for me to clean up this mess. I'm on a 5-second delay.
Yeah. You talk about transparency here. I mean, man's a constant professional. I mean, the walls could have caught fire right now. We would have kept going.
Yeah.
And it wasn't quite that serious, but it was,
right.
We had just a little snafu with a canned beverage.
Yeah.
but we're back.
We're back, and you were talking about the prom after party that but the shooting happened, and the kids that attended the party that was inside. This was not their fault, right?
No,
They were good
certainly.
kids.
I mean, look. I mean, like I said, there are a lot of aspects to this whole situation that I think need to be explored, and we're going to do that. And certainly, like I said, the epicenter, the priority is to determine who had guns there and who pulled triggers, and get to as close as we can as to why that happened. But ultimately, the important thing is to hold those accountable who actually pulled guns out and shot. So that's the epicenter, and then certainly I think there's some ripples from there that I'm interested in seeing in developing, because again, there's zero wrong with a planned after party. In fact, again, as a parent of at one point 3 high schoolers, now 1 high schooler and 2 college kids, if your kids are going to be getting together with friends, and you want to make sure that the environment is safe, you want to make sure that there are parents involved and that kids are being supervised, because again, we were all teenagers once, and unsupervised teenagers can sometimes be a problem.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, again, I'm interested in a lot of different things as to this whole thing, and ultimately, what I'm hoping for, and I think we'll get, what I'm hoping for is a level of cooperation, not only from the students that were there, but certainly their parents. And because again, we can't have situations like this happen without there being, the people being held accountable for the consequences that kind of unfolded as a result of this. And again, I'm asking for the community's patience on this. We're not dragging our feet at all, but in the same token, I can't work off of speculation. I can't work off of misinformation. I have to have correct information, and more importantly, I've got to have people tell law enforcement that information.
So DJ, it was a lot of people there.
Yeah,
a lot of people in the parking lot, right?
Yes, sir.
Out of all that, you still not getting the cooperation you think you should have when you have that so many people?
Yes, 100%.
People are scared to talk.
That's what we're being told. Yes.
Wow.
That's what we're being told.
Young lady is severely injured, being ran over, and I believe there was somebody else who got ran over too.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's sort of a separate complaint.
That's a separate complaint.
That's a separate complaint, obviously related, but a separate complaint. And I will say this, that there has been that part of it. The people involved have been super cooperative.
Right.
Again, it was an unfortunate sort of, I'll say, indirect thing that happened as a result of guns going off. People panic, right? People, especially young kids, they're going to run. And so that piece, I'm not too worried about that piece.
Just that's going to get solved.
It's technically, I mean, we know everybody who's involved.
Okay.
That I'm not worried about.
Is the driver going to get charged?
Well, I can't say yes or no to that, because again, I don't have everything in front of me.
Okay.
Right. If in fact this was truly, from the driver's perspective, if this was truly an accident, and there was no real criminal intent on their part, I cannot charge them.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? Now, that doesn't mean that there won't be a charge related to that, because when, for example, hypothetically, if you set off a chain of events, and one of those events that happens is, somebody gets hit by a car because they're fleeing because you set off that chain of events, I think that there's a level of culpability there.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. All right. Do you think the driver of the BMW might be the shooter? Is it a possibility they're a shooter?
Oh, I don't. I mean,
are they not connected to the shooter?
they're not connected.
Okay. But fleeing the scene, is that a charge?
There was nobody fled the scene.
Nobody fled the scene.
Nobody fled the scene.
So the car that ran over
Stayed there.
They stayed there.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. See, that's information that
Yeah.
I don't think the public knows.
Yeah,
about.
yeah. No, nobody fled the scene. Nobody fled the scene. They were, like I said, that aspect of that's and the police actually pulled a separate complaint number on that incident itself.
Okay.
I'm not worried about that. In fact, there's a high level of cooperation there. That's
On both sides.
on
from
both
the victim
sides.
and
On both sides.
Okay.
Not a problem. It's the events that led up to the reason why
the shooting.
That and the reason why the two young ladies ran. I mean, that part of it is the part that we need to sort of uncover a little bit more and figure out what was going on and who was, and more importantly, who was involved. And again, just like any investigation of this magnitude, you always start with hearing what the streets are telling you and hearing what bits and pieces here and there. And so there's some sort of semblance of maybe who was involved, but I don't know that for sure yet.
Right.
I don't have anything concrete, but it does help us move in a direction when it comes to the investigation aspect of it. And again, I'm dedicating a couple of resources, including myself, to this. And ultimately, we're going to work as quickly as we can in order to start holding people accountable.
How many people you believe was in the parking lot when it happened?
I have no idea,
but it was a lot.
I just know there was a group. How big that group is, I don't know for sure. And again, this is where folks coming forward and talking about that is critically important. And I don't really care so much whether you saw who shot and who didn't shoot, or who had a gun and who didn't have a gun, but at least let us know who you saw out there, who's out there, where are they standing, what's going on. Those types of things are just as important as whether or not you physically saw the actual event itself.
So you're not getting cooperation on that part.
I'll say this is that we have bits and pieces, not a full picture, but bits and pieces. And I believe, based on what I've been told and what I've seen thus far, is that there are individuals who definitely can tell us what happened and have yet to do so.
Are they kids?
Kids in the sense I think there's a mixture of kids between the ages of 16 and 17, and maybe some, I'll say, younger adults, less than 21.
Wow, 21. Wow. And this was a party for kids.
That's how it was advertised. That's
so 21 definitely shouldn't probably be there.
I would think not. But again, that part of what I'm interested in learning is how was this sort of supervised? How was it policed, in the sense, not from law enforcement, but how are we going to make sure that those who are attending, whether it be inside or outside, are truly high school prom goers? How did we make sure that those were the folks that were showing up? Because again, just like any sort of after formal event, I think a lot of students had changed out of their tuxes and dresses and whatnot. So again, a little bit more difficult, but if you are an organizer of such said event, then you have to take certain precautions, I think, in order to ensure that the kids that are showing up, that are going inside, are actually high school kids that went to the prom.
I tell you what I've seen, DJ, that I've been thinking about this, like, how do you solve the situation? And fortunately now I've been to 37 countries. In majority of those countries, they have security at the gate now. Because I'm talking about third world countries who are fighting jihadists.
Yeah.
They don't want no more problems.
Right.
So what they're doing, they got security on the ground. As soon as you enter the grounds, you got to open your trunk. You got to get out. They're going to search everything. Make sure you don't have weapons.
Mm-hmm.
That's one clearance.
Yep.
And then before you go inside the venue, they have another group of security that's checking everything.
Yeah.
And we might have to get to that point now. And you hate to see it. It's a big inconvenience.
It's sad. It's sad that we have to get to that point.
Yeah.
Because again, at the end of the day, what we're talking about is kids, right? We're talking about students.
Right.
Some, probably seniors who this was sort of I'd say their last hurrah before they go to the next chapter of their life.
But we have predators too.
Listen,
a lot of older predators.
Yeah. And I can't discount students that are troublemakers as well. who may not have gone to the prom, but were aware of the after party and were showing up. We'll see. We'll see as we sort of uncover some of those facts, how that all plays out. But
do you think the shooter might have been a kid, or you think
I don't know. I
can't.
I can't say. I can honestly say that I'm not exactly sure who our trigger pullers are.
We don't even have a profile yet.
Well, I mean, we've got some names, but again, I'm not. I can't talk about that, and I'm certainly not going to speculate.
Right.
The last thing I need to do is pronounce some speculation that, well, these are the 3 kids that pulled guns and were shooting, and then it turns out to be completely opposite. I won't do that. Right. And for the integrity of the investigation, I can't do that. Right. All I can say is that this is one that I've taken sort of a personal investment in. I'm going to devote a lot of time to. And there are things that we're going to do in the investigation stage that we haven't. I don't know if Muskegon County's ever done in order to get to the truth. Oh, wow. And so that at the end of the day, that's my number one priority: is get as close to the truth as we can.
So you can force people to talk.
Well, I mean, let's not use the word force. I don't have the power to force anybody to do anything. I think that's really critically important. That I don't have that power. I'm hoping that with some reason and common sense, and again, the fact that I'm not that I am anybody special, but that I'm personally involved, that maybe that'll help get some folks to feel comfortable about talking about what they saw or what they heard, or at a minimum, who was there. Right. I mean, give us some names of people who were there that might have been in a position to see something or hear something that we can go and talk to.
Wow, that's unbelievable, man. That's a public event. Okay. Hit and run. Unfortunately, Roger Calloway lost his battle. He was a victim of a hit and run in Muskegon Heights. I think it might have been a couple months ago. Are you aware of that investigation?
I'm certainly aware of the incident, and I have not had an opportunity to talk to investigators on that particular incident to see where we're at with that. But yeah, I am absolutely aware of the incident.
But that's probably haven't made it to the county level yet.
No, I don't know that anybody has submitted anything for us to review.
Okay.
I'm almost positive, because I would assume that if that had happened, I'd be having discussions with whomever is reviewing that in order to determine what the appropriate charges might be.
If somebody knows that this individual did this with their vehicle, are they held liable for not coming forward?
No, unfortunately, I had this circumstance come up back when we were prosecuting Jeff Willis, and the family members of Rebecca Bletch, the sisters, were upset that the cousin, who they believe, and I believe, knew everything about the disappearance of Jessica Herringa. In fact, probably saw Jessica Herringa before she died, but didn't come forward and say anything. They felt that had he done that Rebecca probably is still alive today. And they wanted him, rightfully so, they wanted him held accountable to that. And I had to explain to them that, well, the law doesn't allow us to do that. There is no outside of, if there's enough facts and circumstances to show that somebody aided and abetted. So the intent of the crime that happened, and they did something in furtherance of that crime. Outside of that, just because I decide not to say anything is not a crime. And that's what makes a lot of these cases and investigations so very difficult, is that we know that there are people out there that know what happened, that know the truth, and yet for whatever reason decide not to say anything. And that's why, when I'm here doing radio, we talk a lot about silent observer, and we talk a lot about that there are mechanisms out there to provide investigators with information that keeps you completely anonymous. And in fact, I would highly encourage anybody with information on any of these investigations to use that tool, because literally we don't know who you are, and I don't really care. I just need to know the information. And again, Silent Observer has always been very good about making sure that the public understands that if, in fact, the information you provide leads to an arrest or leads to prosecution, there's money out, there's reward money out there
Right.
that you get to get your hands on. Again, completely anonymous. You're essentially given a number, and you walk into the bank with that number, and they match your number with the number they have on the check, and
That's it.
that's it.
Wow.
You
Wow.
walk out, and that's it.
DJ, have there ever been time in which somebody knew about maybe a homicide, and then over the years they got a conscience, and it's like, this has been eating at me. I need to talk to you about this case.
Yeah, I mean, we've had that happen. I mean, and it does happen. I mean, there are two scenarios, right? You've got that scenario where somebody just decides, you know what, this has been eating at my soul for the longest time. I just need to get it off my chest. And then you have the scenario which happens quite a bit, which is I've got myself in my own bit of hot water.
Uh-oh.
And I've got this information that I want to talk to you about in hopes that it might help my own situation.
Oh, wow.
So those are the two different scenarios that happen.
Which one happens the most?
Oh, the second one.
Really?
Sure. Oh, yeah. The second one.
Only when it's beneficial to them.
Only a lot of time. Listen, and again, I try not to be judgmental because ultimately, especially if it's a case that has been, I'll say, cold or dormant for a while, and all of a sudden we get this new piece of information, this thing that helps push it forward. I'll take it. And that's why I always say with confidence that one of the things that I really have appreciated is that the men and women that handle a lot of these investigations, they are very patient. If for some reason things just go stale or leads dry up and cases aren't moving as fast or investigations aren't moving as fast as we'd like, these folks are very patient, and we wait for that little nugget to come in that helps catapult us moving forward again. And it happens. It does. And I really appreciate the fact that although a lot of time can pass.
Right.
I mean, look at Telfreda Covington.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Right. So a lot of time can pass, but when you have the right people in the right positions with the right motivation and the right sort of energy, if you will, it doesn't matter how much time has passed.
Right.
When that information comes and you act on it and you're able to move it in a positive direction, then that's what we're going to do.
No, you campaigned on not overcharging people. You were being transparent and being available. Has that pledge hurt you at all? Because sometimes victims want the most steepest charge.
Mm-hmm. Well, listen, I mean, we're going to listen. I don't reach for a mountain knowing that I can only get to a hill, right?
Right.
And that's true in any case. But I will say that there are certain triggers for me that causes me to be probably a little bit more aggressive. And I won't say risky, but a little more aggressive in our charging decisions based on the information I have. And that's murder cases, gun violence. Those are the things that I know this community cares deeply about, making sure that they have a safe, positive environment to live, work, and play in. And so I'm going to try to reciprocate that in how we handle those cases from a prosecution side. Now, I'm never going to do anything reckless because that does nobody any good.
Right.
But certainly where some prosecutors might wait for more, might wait and hope that they get more information before making a charging decision. If I feel that the case doesn't get any better than where we are right now, and that we have a better than average chance of winning, we're going to charge it because, again, there's no such thing as the perfect case.
Right.
It doesn't exist. I mean, I've been doing this for now almost 27 years, and I've yet to have the perfect case because it doesn't exist. And so once you get that out of your head, that I'm striving to get the perfect case before I charge it. Once you break free from that, then I think that sort of the sky's the limit in how you handle certain situations, and you have to trust the staff that you've accumulated or assembled, if you will, in order to do their job and use their gifts and talents to present a case to a jury that a jury goes, yeah, you know what? I don't have any doubt.
Wow. Where are we at on criminal sexual conduct? Are we still seeing a bunch of them, or is it trending down, or people are not reporting? What are we
Yeah,
seeing?
I don't have. I mean, this is where pre-production doesn't help. Not having a pre-production meeting, I don't have those numbers in front of me. I mean, I can certainly look at, but I think for the most part we stay. Uh, I don't think we see big ebbs and flows in that. I think we
Okay.
kind of we stay at a plateau level. But I will say that we've tried a lot of CSC cases over I'd say the last 6 months, and again, it's unfortunate that these cases happen, and the majority of them have been kids, as victims.
Oh, wow.
Which is sad in and of itself. But again, it's one of those situations where we feel, and I feel, that we have to hold these offenders accountable, especially when you violate the innocence of young children. And so I'm very fortunate to have some dedicated staff members that are very, very passionate about these cases, because they are not easy cases. They're very difficult. And you can only imagine, trying to talk to a youngster about things that you probably wouldn't even talk to your neighbor about, or your
Right.
parents about. And
Right.
yet, here we are going to talk about it. And so it is very challenging and very difficult. But I tell you, I have seen some brave kids, kids with a lot of courage, and it's in some respects, it's heartwarming in the sense that, they've gone through this traumatic event, this tragic traumatic event, and yet they can muster up the ability to sit in a chair with a spotlight on them, essentially, and talk to 13, 14 strangers about what happened.
Wow. Wow.
That's
a lot.
It's and again, this is one of the hardest things to educate jurors about, is that exact thing, right? Because jurors walk in and what they're expecting is, well, I mean, they're gonna ask questions. This young person's gonna answer, and we're gonna make a decision, not recognizing the human factor in it.
Right.
This youngster is 8, 9, 10 years old,
Right.
right? And they don't think like an adult,
Exactly.
right? They're not going to act like an adult. In
Right.
fact, they're going to probably act more kiddish than you think would happen if they've gone through that event. But everybody processes this differently, and you have to put yourself in the shoes of a 10-year-old, and how would I process this?
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean,
Wow.
it's again, it is. I really appreciate. I appreciate the fact that in our community, we've got some dedicated services. The Child Abuse Council, which is just up the street from this radio station, it is a blessing, and has been a blessing to this community for many years. They not only do they help with the forensic interviewing when allegations are made, but they're there even afterwards. They've got trained expert counselors that meet with kids for free. By the way,
Exactly.
you don't pay for it; it's for free, to help them deal with the before, the during, and the after. And that, again, we are so very blessed to have that organization in our community to help kids through these times.
I know I told you a certain time. I still got questions for you, which is crazy.
I know. I was just looking at the
Wow.
and even though we took about a 5-minute break,
Another 5 minutes.
2, 3, whatever it was, 2 or 3. Who's counting?
Right.
Nobody's counting.
Wow. I still got. Okay. Jackie. Jackie said, "Thank you for acknowledging." Jackie Ray said, "Thank you for acknowledging that victims can all process things differently."
Yeah.
And 2 more questions, I guess.
Yeah.
In certain countries, they believe that you can't cure child offenders, sex offenders, that it can't be cured.
Yeah.
And these Arab countries, pretty much Muslim countries, they issue the death penalty. Of course, we're not doing that in here in America. But do you believe that sex offenders, people who molest kids, people who molest or rape multiple people, do you believe they can be cured or healed?
It's hard to give a cookie cutter answer to that question, because everybody's unique. Every individual is different. And I don't know that I can blanketly say yes, they can, or no, they can't. I think certain individuals, I think there are individuals that probably cannot, and for whatever reason, they're wired in a way that no matter what therapist they sit in front of, no matter what drugs they take, they are wired and they can't get rid of whatever that urge is. And then in the same token, there are probably people out there that can sort of right the ship. But again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist. I don't have that expertise. And so I understand your question, and I'd like to give a sort of a blanket answer, but I don't know that I can, because I think it's unique to everybody.
Right.
Everybody is different.
It's like lying. You know what I mean? There's a disease.
Right.
Some people just lie and they just
Right. Well, yeah.
They
and
go to
it's no
counseling,
big deal. I mean,
they still lie.
They can do it and not feel any guilt or shame when they do it.
Right.
And
Wow.
those folks exist out there for sure.
I think that's the fear about society, that there are people that can harm other people for the rest of their life. They inflict their well-being, their desire on innocent people.
Yeah.
And it just seems to be unfair.
I agree. It's unfortunate and it's sad, and I wish it didn't exist.
Right.
But unfortunately, you're right. It does.
The lady, I think it's Miss Link, that killed her adopted
Leak?
daughter.
Yeah, Leak.
Leak. Is it Leak?
I think it's Leak. Yeah.
Yeah. What's going on with that case?
Up in circuit court, pending. I think we've gotten past the pretrial stage, so now it's just on the court's calendar. Again, she's charged with open murder. And
I mean, it could be first, second, third.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, it just gives us all the options for us to when we go to if in fact this case goes to trial, and if it does, we'll be ready for it. It gives us all the options in order to decide what theory we're going to present. Whatever the strongest facts are for the particular theory, that's the theory we're going to present to the jury. We're not pigeonholed into one theory or the next. And in some respects, it gives the jury the opportunity to contemplate all the levels in their decision making. So yeah, I mean, it for us, that was a no-brainer. Increase in the charges to open murder, and again, it just gives us the opportunity it opens the book, so to speak.
Is she out on bond still?
I think so. I don't know that her bond has ever been changed.
Oh wow! Even after more evidence?
Yeah. Even after we made those.
And did you plea? Did your office plea for more bond?
I believe we did argue. I'm almost positive we did argue at the time of the preliminary examination for at least a review of the bond, and that did not happen.
Wow. What has changed? I know during the George Floyd thing and protesting, there was a temperament of changing, bond hearings around the country to be fair.
Well, that was going on even before George Floyd.
Before George Floyd,
there's been a large movement. To get away from cash bond, like no bond. In other words, not this idea that you are in with no ability to get out. We're not even going to set a bond to begin with. That you
just stay out.
You just out, regardless of what the circumstances are. There are some states that actually have that as part of their state law. And so there was. Back when I was president of the association, there was a big movement by a lot of national grassroots organizations to bring that to Michigan. In fact, I remember several stakeholder meetings and discussions about that. And obviously, our position as prosecutors is, well, we think that bond conditions and bond need to be reasonable and fair, but it's unreasonable and unfair to basically say, well, you've committed a crime, and I know you're presumed innocent until proven guilty. But if you are a risk to either flee, you're a risk to your public safety risk, there has to be something that kind of hangs over your head until you either are found guilty, plead guilty, or you're found not guilty, right? I don't believe in this idea that, well, because we haven't proven anything, we're going to let you out on your own graces, because I think, unfortunately, there are folks that'll take advantage of that, and there's documented evidence of people going out and committing new crime. And so why would we create more victims?
Right. At least they have. It's been black and white. That
for sure, 100%,
straight across the board.
100%.
We might not like it, but they're allowing people out, and maybe I got to interview some of these judges. That's what I do. I work on that.
Yeah. I mean, listen, ultimately, it doesn't matter what I say or my assistants say in court.
Mhm.
It's the person in the black robe that makes the ultimate decision.
Do you have a good relationship with them now?
With the
y'all
judges?
beefing?
Oh yeah. Look, I mean, I get along with our judges. We have different roles certainly, and I think they appreciate our role in this whole process, and we have to respect and appreciate their role in the whole.
You tell them when you disagree.
Oh, for sure.
Like when they get out of the bench, like
I
tell them how you really feel.
Listen. I don't go and yell at judges. I certainly. I have to express my displeasure in some of their bond making decisions that I think they need to reevaluate how they're making these determinations. But again, they can listen to it and take it, or they can say thanks, but no thanks.
Is that the attitude they have?
Oh no, I think genuinely, I think they all are open minded and they'll listen. But they were elected judge for a reason, and they wear the black robe for a reason, and ultimately the decision is theirs, and they have to live with that decision. I mean, at the end of the day, if somebody gets out on bond and commits a new crime, they have to live with the fact that happened.
Wow. WSLP 103.7 Muskegon Heights. So we don't went over. DJ, was there anything else? Did anything that you want to talk? I've been drilling you today. Anything you want to talk about?
No, listen. I appreciate again. I appreciate being able to come into the studio, and I know May was a crazy month. We couldn't connect for most of May, so I'm glad that we got this segment in before the end of the month, because lo and behold, at the end of this week, May's over.
Yeah, it's over.
We're back. I mean, this is summer, man. This is how it happens. All of a sudden, we slow walk through fall and winter, and then we sprint through summer. It's just not fair.
Wow. Thank you, Mr. Denise Brown. Grisham says, thank you, Pierre. You have some great questions.
Oh, he does. He there's no question about that.
Thank you so much. I try. I'm very passionate about this.
I know. This is why the show goes so fast, is because we could sit and stare at each other for 20 minutes, but you come ready with questions in your head, and we go, and it's a conversation, which is what I love.
Jackie Ray said, love you asking him the tough questions. Paul Alabama, he can handle it. Yes, he can. That's why we don't prep. That's why I don't give him a script.
That's right. There's no script. There's no script. No script. No ahead of time. He doesn't tell me what he's going to ask. We just roll with it.
All right. Well, I'll let you do your closing, sir.
Well, no, hey, listen, I appreciate it. Thank you, Muskegon. I hope let's have a safe summer, right? Let's have a quiet and safe summer. Let's just really bear down and really work hard as a community to make sure that we have a quiet and safe summer. And I'm looking forward to the warm weather. I'm looking forward to enjoying what Muskegon has, which is a lot of stuff going on, a lot of positive stuff going on, and some of the best beaches in the world. Other than that, have a great night, Muskegon. We'll talk to you soon.